Right. This is us and our event. So we've heard about how digital is a desire. We've heard the challenges from the care industry. We've also heard how academia is looking to help address some of those challenges. I'm going to give you the entrepreneur's perspective on this. And before I do all of that, I want to understand a little bit about my audience. Who here in the audience started their career in the 70s? Raise your hand who started in the 70s. You haven't started in the 70s. You were 7. In the 80s? In the 90s? Have I missed anyone? Right, okay, very good. I started my career in 1985 in the Ron Reagan Star Wars program, and we shared one PC amongst 70 people. And when I walk into a care home today, I feel like I'm back in 1985. It's one PC shared amongst the entire staff, and there's a queue. And it's not a new PC, and it's a PC. It's not a mobile, it's not a tablet, it's a desktop, and it's an old desktop. That's the reality of most homes today. I know there's lots of technology that exists out there today, but for one reason or another, it's not getting to the people that we're talking to today, or talking about today. I used to work for a company that developed prescriptions that you could only get by, an app that you could only get by a doctor's prescription. And the reason is that it was clinically proven to manage your diabetes better than medication. And these kinds of solutions, for one reason or another, have passed by the segment that we're looking at. Some of it's cost, some of it's fear, some of it's just human emotion. But for one reason or another, the digital transformation has passed this sector by. Now, when I talk about innovation, the care sector is not about technology. It's about people helping people, and technology needs to be the platform to help other people. So when we talk about innovation in this space, it's innovation around supporting people delivering services to other people. So when we talk about innovation, it's not technology-led. It's not a hammer looking for a nail. It's understanding the user needs. And so there's something around design, user-centered design is missing from a lot of the technology. So when we say that there is technology that exists out there today, my premise is that it's missing the user-centered design. Having said that, we've never lived at a better time to provide these kinds of services. Today, every one of us carries a supercomputer in our pocket. I used to build satellites for Lockheed Martin in the 90s. And the gyroscopes that you have in your phones in front of you today are more powerful and better performing than what is in satellites above our heads today. Inmarsat broadband satellites today are not as powerful as the gyroscopes in your phones today. Battleships of the 1990s don't have as much computing power as what you have in your hands today. How do we use this technology for something meaningful? And it's not around technology looking for a problem, it's what's the problem and how do we apply what's in our pockets today. And that's what we have done. So we've taken what exists in carers' pockets today. Most carers use more technology in their private life than they do in their professional life. If you're a younger carer, you want to use these things, and you're actually held back in the office. Most care homes today have a policy that doesn't allow you to carry your mobile phone on the floor. And some of it has good reason, and some of it is just fear. And we need to get over that fear if we're going to deliver transformational change in this sector. So what we have done is something that looks a bit like this, and hopefully I'll be able to give you a quick demo of it. But this is simple. This is, and I'll go through, this uses user-centered design approach to deliver productivity gains. In the average care home, we can deliver an extra 1,000 hours of care with no extra staff, with a responsive web design, simple responsive web design. And I go back to your own personal experiences. When the first time you used a desktop PC or a mobile, and you're like, wow, I can do all of this very amazingly. Well, the care home, our reference site, is up in Middlesbrough. And the dramatic change that we saw in the staff is like, well, what happens to my monthly care plan assessment? How do I go and do that? Where do I find all this information? We said, well, you press this button. Oh my God, I get a Saturday back. I used to come in on a Saturday and go through 40 binders. 75% of care homes today are on paper. And what they do is they go through, they do the daily diary and they put in there, and that piece of paper is lost. That information is lost. So when we talk about IoT and the opportunity for data, how we capture that data and mine that data for better care is the real opportunity here. So really, what we're about here is gaining trust. We deliver immediate productivity gains for the average care home, but the big win is in the data that we can capture. And we can know of problems before the resident does. We can help the resident avoid GP practices or hospitals, which are dangerous places for elderly people. What we want to do is keep them out of hospitals, and we can do that with data. So with our pilot, we're capturing 5 times more data. The average written amount in the daily diary for each resident was less than 100 words. We're now close to 500 words for every resident. And that's simply because they're comfortable using it, and it's with them when they need it, where they need it. And more transparency. So, for instance, our reference care site, the owner of the home used to get up at 3 a.m. and drive to the care home to see which one of his staff was asleep, because the night shift is hard. Caring is hard. These guys get paid less than the barista at Nero. They can get more money stacking shelves at Asda. They've got a tough job. CQC's on them. They don't get paid much. And so, you want to support them in providing better care, and you can do that. And the owner of the home can see that immediately. And so you have transparency that's easy to deliver. This is a responsive web design. This isn't fancy stuff, but what you do is you gain trust with the individual, that you then begin to introduce all of these fancy things that Steve was talking about on his wish list. It's all possible. And you'll see a little bit of it with Lisa when she presents some of her stuff as well. In the sake of time, I'm going to skip the demo. The app exists. I can punch a few buttons in for you a little bit later. But I think what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that sometimes when I talk about a simple application without a lot of functionality, I feel like when Bill Gates complained about the iPod, he looked at it and he said, "This is a hard drive." And I think what you need to do is see it for what it is and what the users want. And what we've done is provide a daily diary and a care plan that drives real productivity gains without fancy stuff. So it's design simplicity and user-centered design approach, in this instance, is a real winner. So, but for us, it's not about the technology. It's enabling more care, more personalized care, so that everyone benefits. The carers benefit, the homeowner benefits, but the resident gets over 1,000 hours of extra care in the average year. Thank you for your time.